a very broad question. And the other thing is to narrow down your search question and apply filters, which we will eventually learn, and then make it a precise search. So let's say this is the whole PubMed articles. When you apply sensitive search, it will give you this purple line. It will include all the articles. The relevant articles are basically, if you can say, the green ones, and the purple ones are irrelevant. So the sensitive search will almost include 90 to 95% of your relevant articles. But as you can see, it will also include almost similar or even more amount of irrelevant articles, which you will later have to filter out. On the other hand, if you use the precise search strategy, you will include almost 80 or 85% of relevant articles. Of course, you will, as you can see, miss some of the relevant articles, but also you will make your time very effective by excluding majority of the non-relevant or irrelevant articles. Both of the search strategies are correct. Both of them can be done based on the reason of your literature search. And we will go to it. First of all, just briefly, we will just see what are the pros and cons of each search strategy. Someone has a question?
Mute karna the mic.
Okay. So we were talking about the pros and cons. So for the precise search, the pros, as I said, that it will capture almost most of the actually relevant literature, not some. It will capture more than 50%, we can say. And also it will capture much fewer irrelevant results, and it will be less time filtering and screening, which actually takes a lot of time. And con, as we can imagine, that there is a risk of missing relevant literature, which you can see here. By the precise search, you have missed a lot of green articles which are relevant. On the other hand, for sensitive search, the pro is, the main advantage is it will capture almost 90% of the relevant literature. So you will be quite sure that you are not missing anything major. Another pro is that risk of missing, it is actually the same thing, that risk of missing relevant literature is very, very low. And usually you can easily justify it if any peer reviewer is commenting on your article or producing a question on that. The biggest disadvantage is that it would be very time consuming for you to filter out the irrelevant articles once you have the search results with you. This is actually the only con and the only disadvantage of sensitive search, but it is an important one, and we'll know why. So the best strategy and the best way is to balance precise and sensitive search. Make your search strategy in a way that it is not too precise to exclude important articles and not too sensitive to include everything, and you spend like a month or two just filtering out the articles. So this is, I think, everyone has to strike down their balance, and this will only be achieved, in my experience, with continuous practice. And also it will be based on the reason of your search. For example, are you searching for a systematic review? If you want to do a systematic review on a topic, then of course you will make your search a bit sensitive to include everything and not to exclude relevant articles. On the other hand, if you have a specific question in your mind, if you are, for example, making a presentation for your ward rounds or your class, you're making a presentation on any topic, you can easily go with precise search, because you will know that you will capture most of the relevant literature, and you can present a knowledgeable topic by that. This is just a very interesting paper that I found when I was preparing this presentation. A lot of there has always been a debate that what is a good sensitive search strategy and what is a good specific or precise search strategy. These are some authors. They published this paper in 2009, and what they basically did was, there was a systematic review which was already published. What they did was, they took their search term and they applied both sensitive and precise search one by one, and actually their results were impressive, that there was not much difference. As you can see, that with sensitive search they could get 9 articles, 9 studies, and by specific search they could get 8 studies, so just a difference of 1. So the reason and the rationale of this study was just to give an idea to the authors who are doing the search, that what is the need and what is the rationale behind sensitive and specific search, and how to rationalize your own search strategy. Also, As we discussed that there might be a disadvantage in sensitive search, that it takes some time, but once you will start doing the literature search, you will know that once you are using a sensitive strategy, sometimes it will give you 3,000, 4,000 articles to screen from, if you are doing, for example, a systematic review. According to Cochrane, they said that the average rate it takes for you, once you are experienced, of course, it will take you 2 abstracts per minute to filter out. And if you have, by that rate, if you can do 120 per hour, so for 1,000 articles, it will take you 8 hours to filter 1,000 articles. So it doesn't seem that time consuming. But again, you have to rationalize based on your requirement of the literature search. So again, now just to stratify the sources of literature search, you have to, one is to know how to do literature search. The other thing is to know from where you have to do the literature search. The databases that we discussed earlier, they contain the data of published articles, published research. So that's the highest level of evidence. These include all the journals and different databases. The next thing is, which is a little lower in evidence, is gray literature. You can also search from gray literature for very rare things or very novel things. For example, when COVID was very new, when there were like a few handful of articles published, we still had some data more than published in gray literature. Gray literature can be abstracts and conferences, government data such as public health data. Some of the countries, their public health data is accessible on reasonable request, pharmaceutical data, and clinical trial registries. These are the basic gray literature sources. And the third thing is, which basically came into existence a long time ago, but I think now much more people know about this, is unpublished articles or non-peer-reviewed literature databases. The most important one are medRxiv, Research Square, and Authoria. So these databases basically contain articles which are not published and they are not peer-reviewed, but the authors are still putting them out there, mainly because they think that their work needs to be understood and read even before publishing. So you can still use them for literature search, but you have to keep in mind that it is not published. It is not more so, it is not peer reviewed. So the level of evidence in it should be low, considered low, until it is published. Now, once we start our literature search, basically what we have to do is we have to know how to search. So I will just open my PubMed to show you what a literature search is. So I will just show you other databases just in case if you ever encounter, but our focus today will be PubMed. Because of course, first of all, it is free, and second, it is most commonly used. So one way of searching on PubMed is, of course, just to write here whatever you want to search. For example, COVID-19 and treatment, if you want to search about COVID-19 treatment. But as you will see, it will give you a lot of articles. So for example, it is giving you 12,000 articles, and this is because I have placed a filter. So if we remove the filter, it might increase the number of articles. Yeah, it's 78,000 articles. So if you want to search on COVID and treatment, it is very, very time consuming if you are going to filter out all these 78,000 articles to find your finalized articles. This is where you need a systematic way to search literature, which is what we are going to learn today. So the first thing that you need to know in systematic literature search is a thing known as Boolean operators. These Boolean operators will basically divide your research question into different concepts, and then you can join those concepts using these Boolean operators. The most commonly used ones are and, or, and not. And also we will learn, and I will show you examples, that it is extremely important to understand the correct use of these Boolean operators for a successful and time-effective literature search. Now, just to give you an idea, for example, if you are going to search on incisors and molars, this is your research question is incisors and molars. So you want to search around that concept. If you use an or as a Boolean operator, it will give you all the articles which contain the word incisors, as well as all the articles which contain the word molars. And it doesn't need to necessarily have both of these terms together. The next thing is the other most commonly used Boolean operator is and. And means that this is where you will understand it better, I think. So in this and, when you will use incisors and molars, it will give you only the articles which contain both of these words, incisors and molars. The next relatively uncommonly used Boolean operator is not. So not means that when you will write incisors, not molars, then this part, which is basically incisors and molars, will not be included, and you will get only articles which will have incisors minus molars. So this is just a basic concept of Boolean operators, how they work and why they are needed. Just one thing that you have to keep in mind when you are doing your literature search is, I will just open it here also. Yeah, okay. So one thing that I would always recommend is never to search on this basic search term. Always go to advanced and build your search strategy here. This is where you will use your concepts and write them one by one and make a search strategy. Before that, you need to just know one thing, that if you don't put any Boolean operator, if you write COVID-19 mortality, for example, then this will be taken as two different concepts automatically by PubMed, and it will add in between them a default Boolean operator, which is and. As you can see, when I wrote here COVID-19 mortality and I pressed and searched, what it did was it searched for COVID-19, all the articles which included COVID-19 or all the mesh words which are attached with it. For example, COVID-19 vaccines, coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, and it added the word and with it, and then searched all the articles which had mortality with it. So if you don't use Boolean operators, it doesn't mean that the PubMed will not use them. PubMed will automatically and use the default ones. So this might create a bias in your search strategy, which is why I think it is important for you to know how to use them. Another important thing is that PubMed, it processes the research, your search term from left to right. So this is especially important when you are using not, because if you use not in the start, it will give you a wrong search term. So you have to use it at the end. So for example, your search strategy is COVID-19 and mortality, but you don't want any review article on that. So you will just get original articles, not review articles. So what it will search, it will first of all search articles with COVID-19, then it will combine mortality with it. And after that, it will exclude the reviews. So it has to search this part first to exclude the review. This is why you need to know that PubMed will process your search term from left to right. The next concept which I want you to understand and know, which will be very helpful once you will start doing literature search, is truncation. Truncation basically means it is a means of ease provided by PubMed, in which you can use a word and put an asterisk after that to find out all the articles which are related to that word with continuation of different phrases. For example, if you want, if you are studying a drug toxicity, some of the authors might have written it as toxic side effects. Some of the authors might have written it as toxicity of the drug. Some of the authors might have written it that drug and toxicology. So if you in your search term write toxic and then put an asterisk, automatically PubMed will find all the words which are continuation of this toxic. For example, toxicology, toxicity, toxic agents, anything. There is just one thing you need to know, that you have to write 4 characters for it. You cannot write just tox and then put an asterisk, because then there are a lot of words which can be irrelevantly added. So you have to at least use 4 characters and then put an asterisk to make your search term more smart. This is most likely the last concept that I want you to know is nesting. Nesting means putting brackets and dividing your search term into different concepts. Again, you might be thinking that, okay, we have Boolean operators, we have truncation. Why do we still need to put brackets? I will show you why. For example, if you want to search COVID-19 and treatment or management, so you will be thinking that, okay, automatically it should be COVID-19 and either treatment or management, but it is not like that. And the reason behind is, as I told you earlier, that PubMed will process your literature search from left to right. So what it will actually do if you don't use nesting is that it will search for COVID-19 and treatment. It will give you all the articles with COVID-19 and treatment, and then it will search all the articles which have management in it, whether it is related or unrelated to this, and it will combine the search. And as you can see, it gave me a lot of articles. This is, I think, 3 million or something. And when I used nesting, which is I put brackets on COVID-19, this is one of the concepts that I need. And then I place an and then I put treatment or management. So this way, what it did was it found all the articles with COVID-19 and all the articles with either treatment or management. And then it combined both of the concepts and it gave me 95,000 articles. As you can see, it saved me a lot of time. This is why I think nesting is important and you should know about this concept. Now there is one more way. One thing is that you will use your search strategy to make it more precise. The other thing is that how you want to search, you can use different filters. So as you can see that search can be made more effective or precise by using various filters, keeping in mind that it should also suit your research question or your reason of doing the search. You can alter your filters according to that. Main filter types that are present in PubMed are the type of the article, language. Usually we use English language. Usually it is not by default that PubMed will include only English language, but of course, around 70 to 80% of the articles when you search without this filter will be in English, but still 20 to 30% can be in other languages, most commonly Spanish. Then you can also put a filter of publication time and also text availability, whether full text is available, abstract is available, or like that. Let me just show you an example of that. So this is my PubMed. For example, if we are searching this, let's click this. We search COVID-19 and treatment. Now here you can see there are different types of filters. These are the filters you can always save in your, if you make an account in PubMed, you can save your ready-made filters. So I have these filters. Anyways, here you can see there is a whole list of filters. So if you click, for example, let's say we need articles which are published only in the last 1 year to see what is the most latest treatment. So you will just click this and you will see that the number of articles have reduced from 78,000 to 52,000. Likewise, you can say if I only want clinical trials, so you will select clinical trials one by one from here. And you can click up to phase 4 trials. And then see the number of search results it gives you. It will reduce the number of results for you. So this is how you can make your search more and more precise. Just make sure that it is not compromising your search, the reason of your search. Yeah, so the next thing is there is another way to make it more precise or sensitive, which is by using field tags. Again, keeping in mind that it should suit your research question or your reason of search. So the main field tags for a sensitive search are all fields. You can this field tags basically means that you are putting some words in PubMed and you are asking it to search. Field tags means that where do you want it to search that word from? Either you want it to search these words from the author names, from the title itself, from the abstract, from the title and or abstract, from the keywords, or from anywhere in the article. So if you want to make it a sensitive search, you will choose all fields. If you want to make it, sorry, this is precise. If you want to make it precise, you will use it title or abstract. So let's take an example. For example, we want to search again for COVID-19 and treatment. So I will write here COVID-19. And I will keep, this is the field tag. So I will keep it all fields. I want to search it anyway because I want a sensitive search. I'll keep and then I will put nesting and treatment and these Boolean operators, just make sure it needs to be in capital. Management. Again, I want it to be in all fields. And then you click and you search. So it has given you 96,000 results. One thing that I will show you that once you used all fields, what it will do is you don't need to, if you're using all fields, you almost don't need to use synonyms of your words. For example, I wrote only COVID But what if the authors used another word, for example, coronavirus disease, or what if they used SARS-CoV-2, or what if they used pandemic? So if you use all fields, what PubMed will do is it will automatically search all the mesh words related to COVID. It didn't only search for COVID, it searched for anything related to COVID, COVID-19 serotherapy, COVID-19 vaccines, COVID-19 nucleic acid testing, SARS-CoV-2. So as you can see, it almost used all the possible words that could be used, because remember, this is a sensitive search. And then again, for treatment or management, it will use all the synonyms which authors can probably use. For example, manages, managing, organization, administration, disease management. So like this, you will end with a larger number of articles, but you will be at the same time sure that you are not missing anything major, anything which is significant. So this is a brief concept about all fields. Now let's see, let's search the same thing, but we will do it in a precise way. So we will write COVID-19. And here let's select title and abstract. I want to be very precise. I want it only in title and abstract. So what you will do is you will search it. And here, so there are 163,000 articles with COVID-19 in their title or abstract. And then your next term will be treatment. Again in title and abstract. And you can also select your Boolean operators from here, or, and then you can write management. And you press here or again. Now here it has created you a search term of treatment or management. Then you search that. And it has given you a very big number of articles which contain treatment or management in their title and abstract. Now the next thing is that you are making your precise search strategy. You combine your both concepts. So here you will have your COVID-19 in title and abstract, which is around 163,000 articles. Then you have treatment or management in your title and abstract, which is around 55 lakh or something articles. What you have to do is you have to combine them both. So here it is, you have to write the search number 16 and number 17. So you will write 16 and 17, and you click here, and now it has combined your both search strategies or your search concepts to make your one research question, which will be COVID-19 and treatment or management, but only in title and abstract. You click the search, it will produce your search results. So as you can see, there are 36,139 articles which have either the word management and COVID in either title or in the abstract. So this is how you saw an example of precise search, which is this one, 36,000 articles which have COVID-19 and treatment, or sensitive search which has COVID-19 and treatment in anywhere in the articles. So this is an example of sensitive versus precise search on a similar topic. Okay, so although we did an example, I will just start with another example. Before doing practical example, if anyone has any question, any ambiguities, anything which is not clear till now, or any question which arose in your mind, you can ask. Otherwise, I will just continue. Okay, so let's continue then. Okay, so let's say that the topic that you have been given is treatment for pulmonary embolism. Whether you have been asked by your professor to present this as a presentation in the ward, or your senior researcher wants you to start a systematic review with him on treatment of pulmonary embolism. So the first thing and the basic thing, which will be actually, in my opinion, will be a make or break for your systematic review, is how good you do the systematic literature search. So just keep in mind, there are some tips to increase sensitivity, and there are some tips to increase precision in your search. It will depend on you how you want that. So first of all, the first thing that you need to know, if you want to make your search or your research question sensitive, your result sensitive, then you have to make it broader. You will search anything and everything on treatment and pulmonary embolism. You will combine them together, and you will use the strategy that we used, and we will use it again. So one of the tips is to remove the concepts from your search and make it a broad search, which can be later on narrowed down. So for example, You know that there are what kind of treatments are. For example, you know that for pulmonary embolism, you can do anticoagulation, you can do thrombolysis, you can do embolectomy, you can do percutaneous thrombectomy. So instead of writing them all in your search question, because that will make it precise, if you will write anticoagulation or thrombolysis or thrombectomy and pulmonary embolism, that will make it precise. You just write treatment or management and pulmonary embolism to make it more broader, and later on you will narrow it down according to your requirement. So this is how you will search it. You will write pulmonary embolism and you will write treatment in all fields. Let's just again do an example for that. So you will write pulmonary embolism and keep it as all fields and treatment. Let's just make it more wider. You will write management. Yeah, don't forget to nest it, which I was almost going to forget. Okay. So this is your first thing that you are doing is sensitive search on your topic, which is pulmonary embolism and its treatment. So you will choose all fields, you made your query and you click search. As you can see, you found around 40,000 articles with your sensitive search, which is pulmonary embolism and its treatment. In advanced, you can also see that how it's searched for you. If you click this details, it will show you which words it searched for pulmonary embolism and which words it searched for treatment or management. And it gave you these many number of articles. And you can always also download your search terms. This is also important when you are doing a systematic review, because one of the requirements is for the journals to show your search strategy, and it should be reproducible. Then the next thing is that you can search. Another thing is if you want to make it more broader, you can search pulmonary embolism, and then you can eventually start filtering out. But this will be very broad. This is just a way to make it more sensitive. This is just an idea of showing how you can remove concepts. So each idea in your search term is a concept. For example, treatment is one concept. Management is also the same concept. Pulmonary embolism is another concept. So this is how you can remove concepts and make it more sensitive. And you can use more synonyms. For example, if you still think that some of the synonyms were not automatically extracted by PubMed, you can write them in your search strategy to make it more sensitive. And the third thing is search multiple databases. This is very important if you are specifically and specially doing your systematic literature search for the purpose of doing a systematic review. If you do it on PubMed only, you find out the articles and then you spend 3-4 months in writing your systematic review. And when you submit, it will be unfortunately rejected and sent back with a big objection that you did not search in enough databases. So what you need to do is you need to search it in more than one databases. The most common ones used are PubMed. Second one is Google Scholar. And the third one is Scopus, but unfortunately Scopus is not freely available. It needs to have an institutional access. So at least two of them are freely available, and you should use two of them, PubMed and Google Scholar at least. Next thing is also, we have already discussed all this, but just to recap, how to increase precision in your search strategy. So what you have to do is you have to refine your search question or your objective to make the search narrow and productive. So by making the search narrow does not mean that making your search strategy or your search term narrow, but you want to make your results narrow. So although your search term has increased, but the number of articles it will produce will decrease, because you're making it more precise. You are telling it exactly which words you want. This is how you're adding concepts to your search and you're combining the concepts. For example, in the last slide, we saw how we calculated all the articles and extracted a sensitive result for pulmonary embolism and treatment. Now, if you search it in a precise way, you can write pulmonary embolism and combine it with either treatment or management or anticoagulation. So here you will see another use of your truncation, which is I have placed an asterisk here. I want the PubMed to automatically get for me all the articles which will include the word anticoagulants, anticoagulation, anticoagulant therapy, like this, and surgical embolectomy, surgery, surgical removal, and similarly for thrombus, thrombectomy, whatever, thrombolysis. And then the other thing is that we have already seen this also. Another way to, or another tip to increase your precision is that you use the field tags in a precise way. Uh, I wouldn't recommend you to only use in title. That will ultimately have you exclude a lot of relevant articles. So even if you want a precise search, at least use it in title and abstract. So if you use your search strategy and ask the PubMed to find it in title and abstract, then in this way you can have a very justifiable number of articles which can be included. And if there are some articles which are excluded, you can always justify that you use the precise search term. The next thing is that you can use study filters, date limits, and restrict your results of search by using other filters depending on your requirements. Let's say, for example, you are doing a systematic review. You are, of course, doing it in English, and you will exclude all the articles which are in other languages, which is very permissible. So you don't need to like spend your time and find the articles in other languages and then go and do translation of them and then include them. It's totally justifiable to just use the filter of English language and just exclude them. The important thing is always to objectively justify and keep a record of everything. And we will have a lecture on how to do a systematic review. In that lecture, I will show you how you will use each and everything you have searched in the justification, and you will write everything which you are even excluding. Then the last thing is to use different sort of options to force more relevant or higher cited articles to come on the top of your results. So these are basically in some databases like Embase, but they are not available in PubMed or other databases. And frankly, this is not a very, very useful way. Anyways, this is one of the tips you can still use. Now, a very important thing that once you are done with your search, you have your articles. For example, let's say I have these all articles which are telling me about pulmonary embolism and treatment. I have these 40,000 articles. Where do I save them? What do I do with them? So there are actually many ways that you can save your search, because of course you cannot screen all 40,000 in one day. It will take time for you. So either you can email them. So you have to change this to all results, and then what you want to email, then you email it to yourself or to someone else. And the other option is, which I use, so there are various ways where you can save them. One is my bibliography. This is if you have a PubMed account. If you go to your PubMed account, you will have the results there if you send it to your bibliography. The way which I use is to send it to Citation Manager. So Citation Manager is a software. The basic purpose of Citation Manager is to put citations. When you are seeing the articles, you see that there is a number, for example, number 1 at the end of the sentence, and then there is a reference at the end, which is correlating to that number 1. This is called citation. And Citation Manager is the software which will help you put that citation there. Another very useful objective or a very useful thing you can do with Citation Manager is to save your search terms. Whatever results, you can save all these 40,000 articles in one page in Citation Manager, and then you can filter out one by one from them. The concept of how to use Citation Manager also requires time on its own, and it is one of the topics that we will discuss in a whole lecture. I think it is the next one. So this is how you will save your search. Once you will start doing your search work, most likely you will be saving it in Citation Manager, and we will learn it in the next lecture how to do that. So just to sum it up, for an effective literature search, what are the steps? There are 4 main steps that you need to understand, which we have gone through in this lecture. The first thing is you have to finalize your research question, of course, and you have to see what is the rationale behind your research question. Is this for a systematic review? Is this for an original study? Or is this just to present something in the word rounds? Or is it just to increase my own knowledge? It will, your whole strategy after that will depend on that. The second step will be to finalize your search methodology. Mainly in your mind, you have to negotiate with yourself and strike a balance and see how much precise and how much sensitive you want to use the methodology of searching. The third thing is, of course, you will apply that search and make a search strategy, make a search term, and then get your results from databases. And lastly, importantly, you have to save it somewhere, either to your Citation Manager. This is where you will most likely be doing it once you are aware how to do it, which we will learn in the next lecture. or you can email, or you can save it in your bibliography. So that's it. Thank you very much. As I said, that next lecture will be how to use a citation manager. We will have a detailed, maybe 30-40 minutes lecture on how to use it, and we will see some practical examples also. For this lecture, if you have any questions in mind for this lecture, any feedbacks, and for next lecture, just let us know. One last thing, that I will be sending a feedback survey. Last time I didn't do that. It was the first lecture. So I will be sending a feedback survey in the chat now. So what I would request all of you to fill it. It will just take 2 minutes, but it will help us to increase the quality of our lectures. Based on your feedback, I will know that where is the deficiency, which parts of my presentation I need to improve. So if you can kindly do that, I have placed the link in the chat. I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much all. If you have any questions, I'm available. I'm seeing the chat now. And also, if you can ask, you can just unmute and ask. For the recording, I think you can get it from the medical education page. I will just ask Dr. Sumera and provide the recording accordingly.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Dr. Tabassum here. Can you please summarize the difference between precise and sensitive search?
Yes, so I will just quickly go back to the slide, which will help clarify it again. 1 minute. Yes, so here. So basically, just broadly speaking, sensitive search is a way of searching in which you will basically have a broader result. As you can see, this purple line, this is your results in sensitive search, in which you will gather all the articles, almost all the articles in which that word was used. For example, if you are searching on COVID-19, if you just write COVID-19 and then click search, this will be a sensitive search. It will give you this whole broad area, and it will include all the articles which are relevant, almost all the articles. Just see if these green dots, you can see these are the relevant articles. The purple ones are irrelevant. So a sensitive search will be a broader search. It will give you thousands and thousands of articles. The advantage will be that it will include all the relevant articles. Disadvantage will be that it will include a lot of irrelevant articles also. On the other hand, you can make your search strategy precise, which is this green box. In that one, what you can, the major difference is that you will limit your search in different ways to make it more precise. Either you can ask the database to search COVID-19 only in the title and abstract, or you will add a few words, for example, COVID-19, and search only the articles which talk about mortality. In that way, what the benefit will be that it will give you again almost all the relevant articles, but not all, almost all. As you can see that with sensitive with the precise search, you missed some of the relevant articles, but also the main advantage was that you excluded automatically all the irrelevant articles, so it will save you time. This is the main difference between sensitive and precise search. Broadly speaking, just to clarify, for systematic reviews, you will be using a search strategy which is kind of more sensitive, because you don't want to miss articles when you are combining evidence for a systematic review. On the other hand, if you are doing an original study in which you are just taking what the main knowledge which is already published, you will be going for a very precise search. So this is the main difference, when to use which one. I hope this answered the question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so if no one has another,
thank you,
sorry.
Dr. Fateen. I'm highly thankful for your time and contribution in PMC alumni chapter. And any PMC alumni wanted to serve or contribute back to the PMC is always welcome. And we highly appreciate, we have created a YouTube channel as well, where this recorded video would be shared, and any member who want to get consultation later on whenever they are working on any research project, this recording will be available for them. And again, on behalf of my department, I thoroughly very thankful and humbled for your contribution. Thank you so much. And session was very good, easy, crispy, to the point and within time limits. So we will carry on this tradition till we get to the publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sumaira. Inshallah. Just to add one thing, as Dr. Sumaira was saying, that if any one of you is working on any project, and during that project, either you can go back to the videos. If anything is still not clear, I am personally always available, or even through the channel of medical education, you can always approach me and ask any questions that you have. And if I have time, I will always try my best to help you in any way possible.
Thank you, sir. Sir, any contact number?
I will just write my email. One way to contact is through email. The other thing is that you can always contact the FMU medical education page, and they are always in contact with me. So let me just put my email here. So this is my email. I'm always available at this email.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So Dr. Sumaira, shall I just close the today's lecture?
Thank you, Fateen. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Dr. Aisha, and my other team members from the department. And it's always a joint effort, Ji. My team is very vigilant and very hardworking. That's why it's going very smoothly and efficiently. Single-handed, no one can do anything. And Fateen, you are always a part of me, and I'm always so glad to see you growing, flourishing, and shining. And we wish कि हमारे PMC का हर स्टूडेंट आपकी तरह इसी तरह PMC क्या बल्कि पूरे पाकिस्तान का हर वो हार्डवर्किंग स्टूडेंट आपकी तरह शाइन करे और हम एक खूबसूरत गैलेक्सी बना सकें. Stay blessed. Thank you so very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, thank you everyone. Now you can leave the meeting and thank you for joining us.